All right.
Zeus.
I'd like to welcome everybody and the Corn Warriors to Cornology 101. Everybody looks real happy to be here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like David, I can't talk sitting down either. Welcome everybody to Cornology 101. We're going to learn some insight to these methods of these guys here. This is the first time they've been together since I think last August sometime. So
Yep.
there's probably some axes to grind. I'm just going to guess that. No. Okay, we're going to have to get them kind of loosened up. Hey, what have you learned? We kind of want to know what you guys have learned from season 2 of the Corn Warriors. What's one thing you learned?
I do not want to be the villain in 2019. I do not want to be the villain. I want Kevin Cobb. If Kevin has to be the villain, I want him to be the villain.
Randy, when I was walking through the trade show earlier today, a couple caught me, and their little daughter was there. She's 7 years old, and she said, "I'm a big fan of y'all's show." I'm like, "Awesome. I bet your number one fan is like Dan." No. I said, "How about Kevin?" No. I'm like, "Just don't tell me it's Dowdy." And she is your number one fan.
She liked Easton. That's what it was. She liked seeing Easton.
He's
Daddy's
pretty
man.
excited over there.
Yeah, he's really
sleeping.
excited. He's asleep. He's had enough.
So, no, it's kind of neat, but I do agree.
You sure it wasn't Barley?
No, it might have been. Yeah, where is Barley here?
How old was she? Where's Barley at?
I don't think he came. Yeah.
Anybody see him? He's with the flavor of the month.
Oh, he's trying to figure out what flavor that is.
That's right.
Yeah. But no, I do think I agree with Randy. I think if as we go on to season 3, being involved with season 1, that's kind of neat introduction. Season 2, great relationships. I know there seems to be drama. We all get along really well. But season 3, I do feel there's so much more that we can show on air operations. And then also, I think it's just about, hey, how family farms are and how farmers are. Did y'all see me overfill my in-furrow tank into the corn hoppers? That was not planned. That was because Seth showed up. It just happens.
And you had your sandals on. Weren't you wearing? Yeah, I was going to say, as far as a villain, that would have been Kevin with his Case IH dealer last year.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I still want to beat you, David.
So
I still want to out-yield you.
But on the combine comments, I appreciate all the funny jokes about the red combines. I appreciate that. I think,
Be careful. There's red in that booth right over here.
I know that's to you
And
guys
those
too.
free combines you're used to getting and stuff. Huh?
Yeah. But I would take a new 9250.
There
you
you
guys can take care of that. What's that one? I mean, save you on moving charges. Du Bois ain't too far from here, so hell, I'd even drive it. I'll pay the hauling. No big deal. So, but anyway, the seasons have been fun. Season 1 was kind of we get whipped by Zeus, and then Thanos comes in and whips us. Season 2, and we do actually like Randy.
David, what'd you learn season 2?
What I learned in season 2, the corn came up this past year. We just thought, man, I checked the first boxes. Things came up really good. Kind of knew we had something special. But how humbling the good Lord can make you. And it's not just one person, it's a whole collective group. And I did realize that it's not all me, and I knew it wasn't all me, but it is real, and we all had some real struggles. Not only the show, but also in real life from a standpoint of weather. And, there's some things you can overcome, some things you can't. The thing is, you have to know when we'd like to talk about ROI. When you get to those things where, hey, the weather's throwing you a curveball, man, just stop spending money or do it wisely. But other than that, in season 2, in reference to the show part, it was, a little more relaxed. I remember the first time when Seth came out, that was way different. But now he comes out, he's just kind of like part of the crew for a while. Sometimes we get him to go to Chick-fil-A and get us lunch. That's a plus. And then I'm outside.
Did you buy or him?
Really? You got to ask that. So, but no, having the group there, and now the one challenge is I am less than an hour from where Seth lives. So you never know when he's going to pop up at a good time and or a bad time. So, but looking forward to season 3. I trust y'all are, because I think it's just going to be more exciting as time goes on.
Dan, how about you? I know you had some tar spot issues. Seemed like you still did pretty well. Anything you took away from season 2 that you'd like to share?
Well, I'd say I agree with David. You know, it's we started out really good, and I was pretty much 100% certain we had the best crop we'd ever grown. And when that tar spot hit, it killed all of our corn a month early. You know, all fields, all varieties. So and then a lot of corn went down. So it's, as you would say, humbling, you know, when you think you have something, then it's just pretty much taken away. And it was something that we had never seen before in our area. It's brand new. Didn't know how to combat it, and we don't know really how to combat it for this next year. And it is.
Fungicides not work?
What's that?
Fungicides not work?
Not particularly. They held it off a little, not very much. We're going to give more fungicide applications this year, but I'm not confident.
Is it fire from the bottom of the plant, top of the plant?
It's on the whole plant because it comes down.
I didn't know if you'd fumigated. Maybe that might help.
Actually, every place we had irrigation, even with the extra fungicide passes, it was worse where we had, because it's a disease that is worse in cool and humid and wet conditions. So it kicked our butt. But I try to be pretty optimistic. I mean, we're gonna try again this year, and I think we'll do pretty good. But I've never attested that we can compete with Randy or David or Kevin or these other guys. You know, we're a lot farther north, and I don't know as much as they do. But in Illinois, we do pretty good. And no, it's a competition. But on my farm, I'm competing against myself always. I just want to do better every year, and I think that's the way most of the guys standing in here are. They want to do a little better every year, and by watching the show, I think you'll pick up a few of those tips. We do try to give some of the things we're doing and show how we're doing it, and mostly high yield is about being meticulous, doing your due diligence on the crop and taking care of your crop. It's not a secret formula. It's not a product. It's good fertility, timing, and just paying attention to your crop.
Matt, how about you? Anything you'd like to share? I knew you were the Illinois champ this year. You had a long, drawn-out season, as I believe, but wound up with some pretty good yields in the end.
Yeah, so a lot of that long, drawn-out season was self-inflicted to a certain extent. We decided late in the season to switch to 15-inch rows and got the planter there thinking it was field ready, air quotes, and ended up tearing it down to the planter row unit frames and replaced some of the frames on top of that. And so we didn't start planting until the 15th of May when most guys were done. And we finished what I called the bottom of the 9th field June 1st, I think. And we finished shelling corn December 22nd, I think, just in time to go on Christmas vacation. So the combine was still dirty, and we just parked it and said we'll come back to it after the end of the year. So we learned a lot this year. Where we had our best yields, actually we got rained out planting, so they got side dressed about 200 growing degree days before the rest of the corn did. And when you're side dressing at R2 and there's no pollen flying around, that's generally not a good sign. And you can see it, I mean, right to the line. We pulled contest sample out of one field and then went across the fence, same soil type, planted about a week later because it rained, and there was 30 bushel difference between the two. It's same hybrid, same everything. So just a matter of being side dressed way late at R2 versus still late at R1. So we learned some things, learned some stuff to not do. So
Anything that you're going to change for next year? I know
That's
you.
me. Our plan right now for this year is just to not screw up everything we screwed up last year. So
Good luck.
Very good. So, Randy, you're going to be wearing the crown this year, I hear. 404? Is that what we had?
You don't remember?
I remember a lot of things like my wife's birthday and anniversary, but I don't remember. I
There
think
you
it was
go.
4. I can look it up.
408, I believe.
408.
Yeah.
You're going to have the crown, taking the crown from David,
Yeah.
the Corn Warrior crown. He forgot it. He didn't bring it.
Was I supposed to bring the crown? Sandy.
So I know you had 90 inches of rainfall.
Yep,
90. 90.
that is correct. We had 90 inches of rain. Some areas in our, 50 miles from us range for well over 100. Our annual rainfall is anywhere from 45 to 55 inches, depending on tropical storms. And 90 inches is a lot of water. That's 7.5 feet of water. We're just now getting in the fields, starting to repair terraces and waterways. We're planting cover crops at the end of February. That is not usual and customary. So we're in uncharted territory. We'll see what happens. I have no clue at this point what the outcome will be, but we're not starting off the way we wanted to. It may be divine intervention, like Matt said. We may learn something, but bottom line is we're in uncharted territory. But when we think we had it bad, in all things you're supposed to give thanks. Do you agree? In all things, give thanks. All you have to do, who drove here to Orlando? Anybody drive to Orlando? On the way home, take it upon yourself to go in the panhandle of Florida and look at southwest Georgia. It looks like a bomb went off. I don't have to drive very far to realize that 90 inches is really insignificant. The pain and anguish that we went through is nothing. Those guys are suffering. Those people in North Florida, southwest Georgia are extremely unfortunate. They're fortunate that they survived it, but some of them won't. We've already heard of people taking their lives, etc., due to the pressure. So keep those families in mind, but 90 inches was bad. We had a lot of inconveniences, erosion, trees down everywhere, lost some fertilizer. Farm average 75 bushels off of our average. Still able to pay the bills. A lot of unfortunate things happen, but guess what? In all things, give thanks. We don't have to go very far to realize how fortunate we really are. So if you think you've had it bad, if you want a sombering, sobering moment, go to southwest Georgia and North Florida. You got a lot to be thankful for.
But Randy, I've been to numerous of your talks. Okay, the 90, 100 inches of rain. Don't you say the best way to pay for a pivot is not have to turn the pivot on?
I agree. And this year, believe it or not, we still turned the pivot on.
Really?
That 90 inches didn't come the way we wanted it, okay? Even with 45 to 60 inches of annual rainfall, our state average is normally double in dryland corn versus irrigated corn. So with that much rain, we still don't have it partitioned when we want it, just like we want it. It doesn't necessarily rain a half inch with no runoff. We might get 13 inches in one rain event. So don't think that necessarily it's being partitioned just like we want it.
I know, I just...
Hey man, you up there in God's country.
I am.
I don't want to hear it.
I am.
I am rooting for, I'll be honest. I am rooting for Mr. Cobb. There's no doubt about it. If anybody's going to break 442, that's the man, in my opinion. He's got as good a opportunity as anybody. But the part that makes him, in my opinion, the good Lord has showed you some favor, no doubt about it. But he's got want to, and he's willing to think outside the box, and he's willing to listen, not just hear what other people got to say. He's willing to listen. And the part that I now challenge Kevin to do is to start teaching some of what you do. Share it. There's nothing wrong with that. We farmers are used to keeping a cloak of secrecy around us. Do you agree? There is nothing wrong with sharing information. If you got a neighbor that's a butthole and they rent land out from under you, I understand why you don't want to say nothing. But what if they're not? So I challenge you, no doubt about it, once you break this record that I'm rooting for you to do, I want you to tell people how you did it.
Oh, I will.
I want you to tell people, y'all heard it.
Hell yeah.
I'm just going to say I've never known Kevin to hold back any information. I think he's a good teacher. So, I mean, I think he does that already. Randy.
I agree, but he hadn't broke the record yet.
Well,
When
no.
he breaks it, I want him to share.
Yeah, but he also, on this panel, he has the highest yield at the NCGA this year. So you got to give him credit for that.
Oh, he is the man.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. But I can tell you, he's kind of like Dave Hula. He can rub two nickels together. David gets a silver dollar. Kevin gets a 50-cent piece. All right?
Always better. You're always better.
So,
I will say I have talked to Kevin. He's always thinking about something. He'll call in the morning and he's thinking about high salt something or other. And I give you that. Even though you are what you are, you're thinking, you're reading somebody, you're talking to people. Not that the rest of you aren't doing that. And I agree. Kevin's always shared. I think Randy's talking about in mass, sharing that to a big group of people. And
I can't wait. I remember 3 years ago, Kevin would not. He had to speak in Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken, and he was nervous as he could be. He says, "Man, I do not want to do this. I do not want to speak. I do not want to get in front of these people. I don't want to answer questions. I do not want to do this." Now he's loose. I said, if you know your subject matter, you'll be good. You'll be fine. And now he's on TV. He's doing meetings all over the place.
There's a 20-foot poster of him over in the corner. See, that's the biggest poster here.
So I applaud you for doing that. That's good.
Thank you.
And from what I understand, you're doing a good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
well, we also got to get him some footage of him coaching basketball.
Oh, no.
That's what I think would be interesting to everybody is sixth grade basketball coach getting teed up and thrown out of the game. That's intensity.
Anything to win.
Attaboy.
Have you thrown any chairs yet across the floor?
No, they were bleachers.
They were
I
bleachers.
couldn't pick them up.
Hey, did you bring the jar with you?
Right there. But
He
it's
did
a small
bring
one
the jar.
for you.
This is for you, Randy. It's a little smaller than Kevin's big jar at home.
Nice. You deserve that.
Hold on a second. I need to give that to Bridget.
There you go.
There you go, Bridget.
Make sure you put that in your purse.
Good job.
Us girls stick together, Randy. Love you.
Guess what? Paybacks.
I know. It's all fun. I couldn't bring Kevin's along if I did.
All right, let's switch to season 3. We got season 3 coming up. We know Randy is the king of corn warriors for this year. Anybody, I guess you're all shy, you won't want to talk about doing it this year, but who you think's going to be winner on season 3? Of course,
My money is on David every year, no doubt about it. He's the man to beat. He's been winning since the 90s. He set the bar high. He's a student of the crop. He knows a lot. He shares a lot, no doubt about it. So my money's on David.
I'm just going to try not to be last. That's all I'm going to try.
I know you're just sandbagging. I know you're just kind of hanging out and sizing up the competition.
Well, I hate to admit this, but I don't think us boys can beat these guys to the south and to the east of us. I mean, I hate to admit it. I got to put one of them too. You know, they both come off. You know, Randy's come off 2 years of rough crops. I mean, for him, 400 plus bushel. He thinks that's horrible. And David, come off of some green snap. So I mean, I'm telling you what, I'm looking. You mark this down. There will be a new world record. I just don't know who's going to break it. I'm predicting that for 2019.
For 2019,
Yep.
pressure's on.
New
You
world
know,
record.
They
Dan
make it
or
sound so
me
easy.
or Matt probably is going to do it, but no.
They make that sound so easy. It's
Oh,
not
it's
that
easy. It's easy.
Yeah.
You guys do it all the time.
Get you a pivot. Show us how easy.
It ain't. No. So
It's not that easy. I promise.
that's my prediction. One of them two, and I think there will be a new world record. I really do. I really do.
I have nothing to add. I completely agree.
It's up to you, Big Daddy.
I don't know what to say. I just hate the fact that I'm going to have to crown you later.
On film.
On film.
Yeah. Phil. No, there will not be any bowing like that on me or nothing. No. No, you know, we all have challenges. And we all try to overcome from what we learn. And, you know, I know everybody, Dan's going to do as well as he can with what he's been given. Kevin's going to do the same thing. I do believe if we can get a decent kind of spring for you and you can get the right weather, Francis Childs marks, there's a target on it, y'all. And, you know, it's going to happen. And, you know, world records, they don't happen very easy. It takes a lot of stars to fall in place. And y'all heard Randy say he was the first one to 500. He wants to be the first one to 600. And I just wish you fell in that hula pile.
It has been spread, by the way.
I'm sure it has.
It has been spread. So we'll see.
Matt, how about your thoughts?
I guess I fall right in line with Kevin. I would agree that it's probably a David and Randy fight there, and it's really going to come down to a matter of, we know they both can do it. It's just going to matter whose weather breaks the right way at the right time, probably. And I mean, it's the same for the three of us in dry land. It comes down to weather, really. I mean, we can do everything right and have the weather go against us, or we can do everything wrong, like I did, and have it help us out. So I'm pretty sure both of them have probably already seen 600 on the yield monitor. It's just a matter of averaging it out.
All right, so we've all seen some of your mishaps. Randy, I'm not sure we've seen any yours, but David running over the in-furrow tank or the 2x2 tank. And if you guys could turn the cameras on these guys that are doing the filming, do you have any mishaps you want to share of those guys? Seth and the gang? Nobody wants to talk.
I don't know about mishap. Probably the most terrifying thing that's happened is we sent a truck back to dump at the bins, and Dad walked out of the truck, and there's a guy standing up in the grain trailer after it had driven down the road, and he's like, "Oh, I got some really good shots," and I was like, "Well, you know, that's great, but there's a low-hanging power line right across the barn lot that's about head high if you're standing on something." So I think we had a conversation after that one, but I don't know, you know, funny mishaps, but that was, I know Dad was scared. He was terrified him after the fact, so.
I didn't tell Seth this, but he put one of those still cameras that takes time-lapse photos. I kind of ate it with the combine. He didn't tell me where it was at. So that would be a mishap, I'm sure. The camera's okay, but that steel post you put it on didn't do me any good.
How about drones? Do those pose any problems when you're harvesting? I've seen a lot of drone pictures.
Well, when you're not expecting to see a drone right in front of whatever you're driving, yeah, that's a little surprising, but not in reference to mishaps, but wouldn't you think somebody that is into a lot of technology is pretty suave with, you know, directions on your phone? These guys are horrible at following directions. Not from a standpoint, I want you to do this. Just to get from one farm to the next, it's pretty simple. Now, we don't have east-west like y'all do and y'all do. I mean, we got curvy roads, but when you get to the end of the path and you say turn left, I don't know how much more complicated that could be. So I think that's been interesting in, like Randy said, you know, eating some of that technology. they put stuff out in the field to watch the crop grow, like Randy says, and there's a 200-acre field, and they stick it out there.
In the
Would-
dry land. They put it in my dry land.
Put it in your dry land.
I mean,
Well,
did he really want to see dry land corn?
if I had 90 inches of water, I might.
I can assure you he didn't want to see dry land corn.
No, but at least he found yours. You put it in the field without marking it. Some of these things are kind of basic, in my opinion. You have a road map, you just do it. So I think they're learning. It's a learning curve, at least on their part, dealing with those type of people.
Well, we've had a couple funny things. It was season 1, same deal. They put the camera out in the field, and drive a steel post down. And I don't know if any of you have seen this in season 1, but I've got a drip system, so it's an underground irrigation system. And they were trying to find the camera before we harvested, and he just couldn't find it. He was carrying this tall thing around, and we were standing out on top of a pickup toolbox, and I was kind of saying left, right, because I knew about where it was at, and he just couldn't find it. If you notice, Seth isn't a huge man, but he could get through the corn plants pretty good. But I finally went out to help him, and he was just dog-ass tired. He said, "I think this is the hardest thing I've ever done," he said. Well, anyway, so I started helping him. I thought I might have a little better idea where it was. So I start looking, and I ended up finding it. And how he knew I found it, I yelled a horrendous "son of a," because there was a big hole in the ground where he had drove that steel post down through and cut one of my drip lines. So I was losing all my water out through that. And I said, "Seth, get your ass over here." And he's like, "Why?" So anyway, he come over, but then they filmed us fixing it, so they used it in the show anyway. But yeah, so we've had a few things like that. You also got to watch when there's a drone around all the time. As a farmer, you're used to maybe just taking a leak wherever, You got to watch it when there's a drone following you around all the time. I've kind of come to notice that. But.
So season 3, I don't think we ever talked about changes we were going to do. Anybody fertility plans or seed plans, population, anything you want to share that you want to change, that you're going to change? Maybe we won't see it on the show necessarily, but something you want to share with the group?
Well, we're going to start using a little chicken litter because everybody else does. We want to be like everybody else. So we're doing a little bit of that. That's, we've been trying to get away from saltier fertilizers anyway, and that kind of fits into that. We got to truck it in a long ways farther than they do, and it costs us a lot more, but we're trying a little bit of it, or actually quite a little of it.
Are you going to call them Hula piles?
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to call our chicken crap piles. We're going to call them Hula piles or Dowdy piles or what's cob piles? How's that sound? Cob piles? Yeah, not sure yet. We'll call them something.
We're going to play around with intercropping. We're looking at increasing the farm average without spending any more money.
Matt Swanson's been doing that a long time.
Well, I may learn from Matt. Matt, can you teach me some things about that? Tell me what not to do. We're going to try some intercropping. Intercropping for us is going to be something new. The verdict's out. We'll try to show some evidence on camera this year of what kind of benefits there may be. That's not contest related. That's about paying the bills. So we'll see what happens with that. Pardon me? We're going to do beans and corn strips through the fields. We're going to maximize sunlight. We're going to harvest sunlight. We don't know yet. We're going to have some at 40-foot corn, 30-foot corns. So we're going to have some crop interstripping. We'll do some 15-inch corn on that. We'll do some 20-inch corn, some 30-inch corn on it, and we'll do some beans in the middles. So we'll see.
Matt have anything to add to that? I know you had some this year, Matt.
I would say anybody that's looking at trying it, you really need to start out by building tram lines and legitimate tram lines. Not like, this year I'm going to drive in the same place and next year I'm going to move it. That's one thing that I think is pretty key, because you're already doing it by putting the strips out. You've kind of put yourself on tram lines anyway. the biggest obstacle that we've run into as far as dollar-wise is since we grow all food-grade crops, it's a little more difficult to make that chemistry work within the strip. The non-GMO bean chemistry used is, believe it or not, kind of harsh on non-GMO corn when it drifts over. So that's an issue. The first couple years we used Liberty and that worked fine. It actually worked very well. But we have to be able to offset not only the slightly higher machinery cost by doing the strips, but we also have to offset the lost premium from the non-GMO. So for us, that's kind of an obstacle. I would say that most of the data that I've seen says 20 foot is where it's at on the corn side, but you're going to lose a little beans at 20 foot. We're doing 30, we've done 40. If you got a lot of manure, I know 40 works. I've seen it work in northern Iowa. But we're trying to make it work on 30s and non-GMO. So just so the dollars work out, because we're bringing in over $100 an acre in non-GMO premium, and in order to make that function, it's got to pay.
Question was, I was asking Matt, what he thinks his average increase in corn yield is in strips and average decrease in soybean yields.
On the 30 foot, that we just moved to 30 foot this year, so I'm not confident enough to say what that is. On 40 foot, I've seen around 20% on the corn, and the beans basically the same. I think you get down to 30, you're going to start losing some beans, maybe a bushel or two. I think you get down to 20, it's going to hurt. Now, whether it's going to be offset by the corn, it very well might be, but I think 20 is going to hurt on the bean side. Is my hypothesis anyway.
All right, good information. We're getting close to wrapping up this Cornology 101. We still got some huge announcements yet, so don't go anywhere. Matt, let's start with you at the end. We'll just run down the row. And any last comments, any encouragements for them to tune in to the third season of Corn Warriors? Any last comments you guys want to share with the group?
I guess I would echo what Randy said at the beginning about making it more about the process and less about the people, maybe. When I signed up to do the show, it was intended, for me anyway, to be a way to pass our knowledge on to other people, and to maybe hopefully show some people that, had no experience with farming, just what everyday farmers were doing. Not one end of the spectrum either or the other, not the 40,000 acre guys, but not the 10 acre guys either. Just your average American farmer. That's what I signed up for, and I think that's hopefully where we're going for next year.
I would have to say for next year, I think we're going to have a little drama between these two guys. I'm foreseeing, I'm picking a world record, and I've been thinking about this. I'm thinking you both are going to go over 540. One 550, the other 548.
Can you tell us what corn prices are going to max out
Yes,
at,
I
since we're
can.
doing
Yes, I
prophetic?
can. I can
And
tell
us
that.
where the
I am that
soybeans-
good.
I hear you.
Come on, guys. I'm trying to build this up, get a little competition here with you guys. So, no, I think it's been great. I mean, probably the best thing that I got out of this the first 2 years is the people we meet. I mean, we have met a ton, me and my wife, kids up here. I mean, we have met not only these guys, the growers, but I mean, the fans, yeah, we do make a lot of drama. The combine that we had broke down was not drama. That was not stage. It did take a shit. I mean, it did at a very bad time. But I mean, like I said, the people, I mean, meeting a lot of people here, that's probably been the best thing for us, I don't know. Oh, boy.
How do you follow that, y'all? I'm an introvert by nature, so I'd much rather sit in Charles City, Virginia, and not do anything. So just having that exposure, seeing that little girl in the audience, that was just kind of way cool in the trade show. But then, I think the good thing about the show, and I want that to carry on, we're in relatively different regions. Even though Randy's, the people are seeing the struggles, even though he's in the land of milk and honey in an aspect. So is Kevin.
I agree.
So you just got to work for it, buddy.
Yeah, right.
So it's just showing the non-farming community the struggles that we do have. They are real. Whether it's some of the things like Matt said, self-inflicted, where we overfilled the fertilizer tank and then created that legitimate problem. But then there's also some of the successes. And I do think as farmers, we don't know that we always encourage everybody to be successful, but here, this group, we're all cheering for the other one. And that's kind of it's kind of unique, because I got neighbors that, aren't cheering for their neighbor to be successful. And as every one of us push further, hopefully we're going to learn from that. Things that Randy does, things that Kevin does, things that Matt and Dan do. There's things that I glean from that. So I'm probably not as diligent watching the show as some others, but when I see some of the excerpts, I'm like, man, I didn't think of that. So I'm still learning. And in reference to your world record crap, it's not that easy.
Well, for about 3 years, didn't you guys take turns going back and forth? I mean, it was, it was simple. I mean, it's like, well, what? Hell, there's 550. Well, here comes 600. Here comes 650. I mean, you guys just. So yeah, we're kind of expecting this, guys.
Randy prays diligently. I pray diligently, like most of y'all do. And then, I probably helped get you that 90 inches of rain.
Appreciate that, brother.
So that's the kind of drama I'm all about.
I would say for us, I mean, we get some feedback from, I guess what you call the common Midwest farmer, because that's kind of what we are. We're not in the South. Kevin's kind of on the lower end of the Midwest, but Matt's directly Midwest. So we get a lot of what you just, viewership that they can relate to our farm because we're a lot like them. So what we try to do is show some of the things we're doing, some of the things that have made a difference to us. I really like trying to show family being involved in the farm, because that's the way a lot of farms are, and that's the way ours is. It's a big part of what we do. And also, along with the farming people that are watching it, viewers that are not farm people, and we're getting some more and more of those, and that's kind of showing how it's really done. We don't have extreme struggles that are shown on the show. I mean, we show some things, but I think they get an idea of how the crop is actually grown, the amount of effort it takes, and the time that's put into it. And I think that's kind of a big deal, because most of the community is very farly removed from farming anymore. They don't really realize what's all going on. I think this show, if it gains in popularity, helps with that. I think that's a big deal.
100%. It shows how resilient hybrids are. For me to go through some of the weather that we went through, it defied logic for us to be able to make 400 bushel corn. Not all of our acres were as high as yielding as we had in the past and what we had hoped, but it does show how much genetic potential there is and how much forgiveness there really is in some of the hybrids. We managed a lot of stress. It shows how the fungicides, et cetera, do help us, no doubt about it. That was eye-opening for me. And I can't wait to see if we can put AgriGold at 600. AgriGold at 600. Does that sound good? We are sitting in the AgriGold booth, right? Does that sound good? Jared, does that sound good? Huh? No, I'm joking. But all jokes aside,
wait, were you saying that they can't do 600?
No,
you said you were joking.
I'm just saying I saw over 600 with $64.99 already.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what it can do. I mean, it still seems to be the hybrid of choice for South Georgia, no doubt about it. So we're excited. We got some of their new hybrids that's coming. There's always something better, right? So we're going to be looking at that, but we're also looking at just to see what we can do with what we already know.
I guess I'm curious amongst the corn growers or corn warriors here, what's the highest you've seen on a yield monitor, Matt? 408? How about Kevin?
I've seen over 5.
Over 5? Stay there for a while?
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, I mean, it's definitely attainable. I mean, yeah.
It's just that sometimes when you see 500, it's not where the contest is, where we've done the contest acres.
How about you, Dan?
All 430, but not sustained, you know, I mean, but we've seen it. I know we can hit it, you know, and yeah, I think it was on outside, you know, 8, which makes a hell of a difference, but, you know, there's maybe the next 8 in, it was in the, you know, pushing 4, so I think we can get there. It's just we got to have everything lined up again. You know, for us to get to 400 is like you trying to get to 600, but, you know, different goals, but that's where we're at.
I remember when I broke 503, I showed him a yield monitor. You remember that? I showed him some yield monitor data, and I said, David, 503 is sexy. It was fun. 2014, I said, big deal. But look here at the yield monitor data. We had over 1.5 acres total in the field that was over 600 bushels. Over 600 bushels. So it tells me there's a lot of potential out there. That was 6208 then. That's right.
That's what I thought.
Oh, you giving a plug for decab? Is that what it is? I believe, hey, does his socks say decab on them and his underwear say decab? And he's got to tell. That is too much information.
Whoa. Don't get personal.
But the bottom line is, this man's always bleeding decabs. So that's good. So.
I ain't got I don't have a decob shirt on.
You got your hat on.
I do have my hat. You know, you take the cover up the DE. What's it spell? Cobb. So
There you go. So you telling me you're part owner? Is that what it is? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys. Hey, I just want to say on behalf of all the fans out here and all of us that are learning, we appreciate these guys sharing information. I see.
Ask David what he's seen on the yield monitor.
David, what have you seen on the yield monitor?
Well, I was hoping you were going to overlook me, man.
No.
No, we too, where Randy said he saw that acre or so, that 600, we've seen 650 sustained for a while. So that is real numbers, y'all. So when they talk about genetic potential, irregardless of whatever the bag is, when you open that bag, yield's dropping. So the key is to stop or slow down that decline. Sorry about this. Been talking a lot, y'all. So it's just a challenge. And you know, when we first got to 400, we saw 400 for a while in the yield monitor, and we said, man, maybe it's attainable, maybe it's not. Well, we did that. Then we started saw 500. And, you know, I never thought all the stars would line up to get that. And now Randy's seen 600. We've seen 600. And so it's going to happen. Somebody may do it here in the near term. So bets are on.
We mentioned quite a bit about next level. Now me and you have kind of gone on a little venture together. Give people your impression and your thoughts of what next level's about and why you wanted to be involved.
Well, my interest in being involved with Next Level was just, first and foremost, working with other growers. I remember when Francis Childs talked to me. I remember the late Stephen Albrecht talking to us, and me and Randy sharing information. So it's been an opportunity to pay things forward to where, hey, it's not just here in our location, but if we can help growers, and growers want to become more profitable. They want to be successful. And they're usually trying to gather information from those that are more successful for them. So I think that has been it's been eye-opening to me. And it's also been an opportunity to where you can share that. And then when you're involved with it, just like the 5 of us, we're kind of exchanging knowledge. When you see a group of growers exchanging knowledge and you see the power of that, and they're cheering each other on, and it's just not that competition that you would have I would have ever envisioned. And just creating that relationship, I think that is just powerful in itself.
Okay, appreciate those comments. Just once again, as a fan of you guys, I've talked to every one of you. I know a lot of people have. I see some state champions out here that I've talked to. We appreciate very much those of us that are still learning how to grow corn, all of you sharing what you know. And I think a lot of us come in expecting to hear a magic bullet, and there isn't one. I've listened to them all talk, and there's a lot of information they give that can help us all start growing in that. There's no magic, well, there maybe is a magic potion when you get above 500, but a lot of us they're sharing a lot of things that we can do on our own farms to help us improve. And I thank you all for that, and all you guys that are state winners that have helped us all throughout the time. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we got two big announcements, and then we got the crowning. So be sure to get your camera batteries charged for David to crown the king here. This is so important I have to read it. The 2019 Season 3 winner of Corn Warriors, as if there wasn't enough at stake already, will get their farm mapped for the #1 farming simulator game in the world. The one and only farming simulator by Giant Software. Corn Warriors has partnered with Farming Simulator's Best Map 2017 winner, the one and only Mapper's Paradise. So, as if you didn't have enough to reach for already, there's that. Okay, now a lot of you have been involved in voting for the next Corn Warrior, and I'm proud to say that they have tabulated the votes. They've checked them twice. There's no hanging chads. We got it ready to go, and it's going to be Brooks Cardinal will be joining the Corn Warriors for Season 3.
Is it here?
Is Brooks here? Brooks is outside, probably throwing up, I would imagine. He's from Indiana, and he'll be joining the group for this year. So we've upped the ante a little bit.
Good deal.
All right, I want to thank everybody. Let's get on to the crowning. Has the crown come out of the armored car? I know it was parked outside, and they're looking for the keys.
Yeah, Randy, I hate to tell you, but you're probably not going to get a John Deere combine for winning.
You know how many people who thought that you got a John Deere combine based off of the episode where he says on the video, he says, "See there, that's what you get for winning Corn Warriors." Who actually thought that was the case? Chad, I wish it was. That's not the case. I really wish it was. That would have been a pretty sweet deal.
I
for
wish
a
it
year.
was too.
Oh, they don't give you that for free already?
No.
Huh?
No.
And we got some music to play. We need some drum rolls. We gotta,
Well, I guess, Randy, our producer, Seth Woods, is going to present you with the plaque for having won Corn Warriors, for being the champion for 2018. Congratulations. I just don't know what to say, y'all.
Can we just don't and say we did?
Oh no. So, hey, Bushels.
Easton, come to Daddy. He ain't coming to
Oh,
Daddy. You gonna come to Daddy?
yeah.
He just woke up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, Bushels, I want you to know that when you talk to me, you always say King David. But please remember that your dad is the king of Corn Warriors. There's no kiss here, buddy. So did y'all get good pictures of that? You got to put it on so she can get a picture, buddy.
Maybe walk the hallway. The red carpet.
Thank you, Doug.
Yeah. Looking forward to the challenge. And I'm looking forward to work with y'all and the new fella. Y'all, this is going to be fun because there are going to be some excitement in 2019. We're going to share some information. And, you know, we're hoping there could be a new dry land yield between the two of y'all.
If we add them together,
So hopefully y'all continue to view, and the show wouldn't happen without our sponsorship. So you see during the shows, and we're not trying to make them in for commercials, but we had some big sponsorships. John Deere, Pioneer, AgriGold, Brandt. Think of any others? Farmer's Edge. So just like NASCAR, you want to thank all your sponsors, but the show couldn't happen without those. So we do appreciate that, and Seth Wood and his whole crew. So thank y'all.
All right, that's going to wrap up our Cornology 101. Let's give it a hand to AgriGold for bringing these guys in today. Excellent job, AgriGold. Thank you all for coming.